What's going on, guys? TZ Champ here. Welcome back to another video, and we have another first Descendant video for you guys. So Stalker, the brand new Void Intercept boss, is here. Level 145, 5 levels above Gluttony. Everybody has struggled with Gluttony when it first came out, so I'm sure a lot of people are struggling with this one, and I'm about to tell you how to beat it right now, so let's just jump straight into it. So this boss has a couple of attacks right off that are you're going to notice, and you're going to be trying to figure out how exactly you're supposed to avoid them. So the most notable attack is going to be this ring of bones that kind of just is centered on the boss and then goes outward. Very similar to the pyro rings that you have to fight and deal with. Same concept. You can just jump over them by double jumping or using your grappling hook. You can also just avoid them outright if the boss is either on a higher plane of the arena than you or a lower plane of the arena than you, because it is again centered on the height of the actual boss. You can also be out of range of them, so if you're far enough away from the boss, then you can just completely avoid them altogether. Next attack that the boss is going to be doing is these green skulls that they're going to send out to kind of just track you. It sends out a ton of them, but they are determinant of the player. It sends about 3, I believe, to each player. Now, you can shoot these, so be sure to take the time to shoot the floating skulls, because you can deal damage to them. Now, that being said, I will also like to say that there is a mark of some kind, or a debuff of some kind, where it will show a green skull circling around your character, and on the left side where it shows the actual debuff, it'll show like a picture of a skull, and it has a stack count. The stack count goes up to 4. That's the maximum. Each stack reduces your maximum HP. I have also noticed it seems that the more stacks you have, the more tanky and damaging the floating skulls deal to you, I think. Now, I don't know if it's just a debuff on yourself to where you're dealing less damage to them or what, but I have noticed when I was playing as Ajax that when I placed my shield down, it could absorb all of the skeletons or skulls hitting it. But then when I had 4 of the debuffs on me and I placed down my shield, 2 of the skulls would break it, and then the third one would come through. So it seems like they deal more damage the more you're marked, and also I was not able to destroy them as easily by shooting them. So keep that in mind. How to get rid of those debuffs. Occasionally the boss is going to spawn some clock looking things around the map with a ring around them. Just stand inside of that ring for a couple of seconds. Once you're there long enough, then you'll be able to, it'll cleanse your debuffs from you and destroy that clock. So you can try and coordinate with your team if you're playing with friends, so that way you guys don't take away clocks from each other. It does spawn a few of them, but you never know. Sometimes you might need to gather up on one particular one at the same time. Apart from that, the next mechanic you're going to have to deal with is going to be, of course, the enrage / immunity phase mechanic. So what it's going to do is it's going to spawn in a bunch of puppets, or like different little tiny versions of itself around the map, and your goal is to find the correct one and stand inside of the ring, just like with the clocks. Now, the correct one is going to be determined by it covering its face. All of them will have kind of these like little legs or claw things coming out of its back, and the one that's using them to cover up its face, kind of like fingers in front of its face, is the one that you're going to want to stand next to. If you stand next to the wrong one, it will deal damage to you and kill you. Also, if you take too long to find the correct one, the boss will wipe you. So you need to stand in the correct one and just tank as much of the damage that you can. Try and just avoid getting hit by the bone stuff and the skulls. And also the boss will then shoot out these little masked kind of skulls in the air. You can shoot those to detonate them early, but if you don't and they actually impact the ground, it will spawn rings just like the bone things, but slightly different. And they will do lots of damage as well. So be very careful with that. Shoot them out of the sky if you can. If not, just try to avoid the damage as much as possible. Once you've stood there long enough, the puppet will destroy itself, which will send the boss back into a vulnerable state where you can start dealing damage again. And that is pretty much it for the mechanic of this boss. Any other advice that I can give you guys is to make sure that you bring in perfect anti-venom if you can, because it'll help negate a bunch of the toxic damage that this boss does. Also, Ajax and Eugen are very useful against this boss, just because Ajax has the shields that can block the skulls, and also just good defense in general. And Eugen, of course, being the best healer and reviver and stuff in the game. Just overall very, very good for this fight. But as long as you are determined and keep fighting this thing consistently, you will eventually persevere. It took me about 3 attempts before I was able to actually beat this thing, which seems like, you know, not very many attempts, but we got really lucky. I was playing as Ajax and we ended up getting a Eugen on our team, and he became the clutch master of this fight. So Eugen, very useful. And yeah, other than that, guys, I hope this guide was helpful. If it was, be sure to leave a like, share it with others so that they can also complete this fight as well. This is a very tough fight. And yeah, I thank you guys so much again, and I'll see you on the next one. Laters.